want to welcome the audience today to this interview of Dave Fider. We're going to get into his life and why he's here. And we want everybody to know that Neomasculinity.solutions is not just one guy, me, with a good idea. It's actually a group of dedicated professionals and true believers in a project that will help other people and help us to make the world a better place. And, I met Dave maybe a month ago, but he is a rock solid guy. He's the owner of Wave Builder. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but I appreciate him and what he does for the team. He does the high level video work that we need to have done for the different products that we offer on our website. But anyhow, this isn't about me. This is about Dave Fider today. And thank you for being here, Dave. And thank you for
Absolutely.
being part of our team.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, John. I appreciate it, man.
We're there, man. So let
Yeah.
me ask you this. Tell us a little bit about your background and
Yeah.
how you got to be here today and about Wave Builder especially.
So my background, there's a lot to that. So I was a computer drafter for Verizon back in 2009, back when we had the recession, and I was one of the folks that was laid off from my job at the time. And back then I remember thinking like, even though we knew it was coming, there was a recession, we knew that layoffs were coming. I remember back then thinking, goodness, I don't want to give anyone the power to be able to like kick me out of any kind of job ever again. So, at the time I was, collecting unemployment and I was just, online searching for things on like, what can I do in order to not have to go work for someone else? And just like anyone else, you type in Google, how do you make money from home? And so I started coming across different things on how you earn extra income. And I got into affiliate marketing, I got into marketing, I got into drop shipping, all different types of stuff. And I remember the day when I first got a check from affiliate marketing, it was just like, okay, this is actually real. This is actual money that I can go take to the bank. And so it was then that I said, okay, if I can do $100, I can actually, do something more than, um, having to go find another job somewhere else. So that I think started or actually pushed me out into the entrepreneurial world. Like I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I was just never had the push. And I think at the time, just like anything else, when you feel like something came and wrecked your life, it actually came. You look back and like, oh, this is the thing that propelled me into what I'm supposed to do. So it was that push, it was that layoff back in 2009 that pushed me out to go explore the entrepreneurial world. And, one thing just led to another. I started coming across different opportunities to do marketing for different companies. At times, I was doing marketing for companies for free months at a time just to show them I know what I'm doing. And so that taught me a lesson on, being able to really just kind of go out there and, no matter what it looks like, just kind of stick your neck out there and see what happens, pray up and go out there and see what happens. And I've not worked a regular 9 to 5 job since that time of being laid off in 2009. And here we are in 2025. And, what I thought was something devastating turned out to be the push that really put me out there. But along the way, as an entrepreneur, I was having to figure out different things on my own because as a business owner, you have to, be the janitor, you have to be the cook, you have to, wear all types of
Everything.
things,
Yeah.
everything. So, I had to figure out how to do video. I had to figure out how to do edit pictures. I had to figure out how to do all different types of marketing. And so I was developing all these different skills along the journey that I just at the time thought I needed to get by for this project or this project or this project. And then when years went by, I just looked up and I, had acquired all these different skill sets that, at the time was needed for each individual project, but then became my whole umbrella of what I could offer a different company. So, here I am, 16 years later, and here we are.
Yeah, man. And your beard's still dark. It's not gray yet, but
Yeah, well, there's a few in there. If you kind of look closely, zoom in, and you'll see a few over there.
that's funny, man. So let me see if I get this straight.
Yeah,
So your entrepreneurial mindset and spirit, you can tell you got that kind of spirit, was born out of the necessity for independence and an independence from the status quo working world, where you call your own shots in the circadian world we all know about,
Yep.
9 to 5 and this and that, but you're working for somebody else. So is it fair to say that it's very exciting, but it's also at the same time, it can be very daunting because you're totally responsible for everything, the bills and all that?
Everything. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you said it right. So, yeah, when you think of being an entrepreneur, before you're an entrepreneur, you just think of the freedom that comes with it, not thinking about the fact that now you don't have a biweekly paycheck coming to you. You don't have a boss making sure that you're at work on time, being productive. That's all on you. And so your productivity determines your paycheck. So, yeah, the stresses that came with having to make sure that I'm producing in a way that I could support myself was very daunting. But at the same time, like you said, very rewarding because now you could create and produce at your own pace. And now you don't have a ceiling anymore, but you definitely have a bottom that you can, fall to if you don't do what you're supposed to do. So it kind of gave you an extra layer of responsibility that developed me into what you see right here today.
Nice. I appreciate that. So I would say that you are a prime example in that space where you're able to work of a fundamental creator,
Yeah.
or you could say a creative fundamentalist, that you like being in that world, that you can do your own thing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's risky in all this. We get that. But if you have great intentions and you do quality work,
Right.
then you're building a reputation for yourself that you can actually rise above other people that are in your business sector. Is that
Mm-hmm.
is that kind of how you look at it?
Yeah, very is. That's exactly right. So, when I first started, in my head, my whole goal was money, 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 make some money, get some money. And then I started realizing that like you can make, a few bucks here and there, but like you said, it's your intentions that are going to cause you to rise up, to see success and have longevity. So there's plenty of opportunities and plenty of companies that, wanted to work with me. Um, even in the past, I had a product called Mirror Set. It was a stop smoking product that we had on TV, radio, print. We had all over the place. And it was doing well on TV. And so we started attracting some people that were coming to us that were saying, you're doing well now. We can really have you do well if you just come with us and let us show you the ropes. And we're like, all right, sounds good to me. But then, not to go into the details, but behind the scenes, in order to actually go that route, were some things that kind of, crossed my moral compass and didn't sit well with me as far as like integrity, which is, something very important to me. And I turned down like one of the biggest deals of my life in that space because what I feel they were trying to do was not on the up and up. And again, that then led me to other opportunities because I turned that down. And so that helped me, gave me a very valuable lesson that, it's not always about the dollar. It's about your intentions. It's about how you're trying to help people. It's about the value that you're bringing to someone else's life. And if you focus on that, everything else will come tenfold.
Totally agree with you 110%, Dave. And that's what makes you who you are. So tell us a little bit about, and then we'll talk about neomasculinity, but tell us a little bit about wave builders.
Yeah, so Wave Builder, there's a company that actually, a direct sales company, that they have a product that helps people to heal naturally. And I'm not, sure we can say heal. We're not supposed to say heal, but essentially it's helping people to heal and it's doing it the natural way. And this company caught my attention because they're going against the grain, against big pharma and all the big players in the space that want you to take medicine and keep you in this loop that we know we're not supposed to be in. So they came along and they developed technology that helps people to rejuvenate their stem cells the very natural way using natural light. So that caught my attention. I tried the product. My parents tried the product, and it was like a miracle. And then so actually, I saw that they didn't have a way for their sales reps to actually reach the masses, like reach the cold market and reach the masses. So I developed a system really just for a few people in the company so that they could, have a sales funnel to reach the masses. That then turned into us developing a system for all the sales rep of the company. And then we thought about adding different things to improve it. We added AI. So now the process is that we have a marketing system that will go and find people who are in chronic pain. Once the system finds someone that's in chronic pain, AI will engage with that person and educate them on what we can do to get them out of chronic pain. When that person has expressed an interest or a liking to this new method of using natural light to get out of chronic pain, the AI system will then connect them with a sales rep of the company. So now we've bridged that gap where instead of the sales reps just talking to friends and family in their warm market, so Wave Builder helps them to reach out to the cold market of people they never would have come across, have AI engage with them, and then connect them with that live human.
Nice. It sounds sophisticated and at the same time very simple.
Yeah.
Um, and I
Mm-hmm.
know that when we had talked about it earlier, I knew that you were excited about it, and that excitement carried over and was one of the reasons that we decided to work with you. And a little bit of background before we get to neo-masculinity is I met Dave through a mutual teammate of ours. And we were in need because I can do videographer type stuff, but come on, man, that takes a real
Yeah.
expertise and,
Yeah.
lips even syncing and some of the things that you have to do with sound. I can't do that. So
Right.
she said, well, I know this videographer guy down in Tampa, Florida, and you need to meet him. We need to take a look at his work. And it only took me looking at a few videos and realized that Dave was the real thing.
Yeah.
And when we talked to, remember when we had the discussion about
Dude.
neo-masculinity, you were saying, when do I start?
Yeah.
So Dave's working on some products for us that are video. They're basically what we call master classes, but you'll see the quality of those as we start to bring those online. So, being said, now that we're working together we still got other projects going on, but why, what was it about neo-masculinity dot solutions that got you so amped up?
Yeah. So actually, just to take it a little bit before that first, I do video and I feel I do very well with, video production, my creativity. And I was just thinking, like, I would say probably about 2 months before Kristen introduced me to you, that, as creative as I feel I am, and all these videos I made for all these different companies, like for me at the time, I was just wanting people to see, wow, Dave is creative. And I got to thinking that, just creating videos just to get praise or have people say I'm creative, I don't think that that's why I was given this gift of creativity. I think I was given the gift of creativity to reach people and reach people for a good purpose. So when Kristen reached out to me and she had told me about you, I didn't really understand the whole concept of what masculine solutions was, neo-masculinity solutions was. I didn't really understand the full concept. And then I went to your website. And when I went to the website and I saw that you were, connecting the dots, like you were reaching out to a world that was creating this environment that was creating this environment that is tearing apart homes, tearing apart families, and then that's just a cycle that's just getting worse and worse and worse. And to be honest, like, I've always known that this was an issue and this is a problem, but not seeing anyone step up to say, I want to do something about it. I actually want to put some content out there or create a class or what. I've never seen anyone do anything actively about it. And it was almost like, perfect timing when Kristen reached out to me because I was saying, okay, so if I can create videos that can help this effort to reach people for something that can change and, actually, sign me up. And I think when you and I first had that initial conversation, I heard in you all of what I had been thinking prior to meeting you. And so I knew that wasn't just, a coincidence.
Isn't that crazy how the universe works?
Yeah,
You
it's yeah,
know, sometimes though, and you know this, man, we walk through our lives blindly. We
yeah,
just we're focused on what we're doing and we're not really paying attention to the bigger picture. And what I've learned in my life at this age, I'm a few years older than you, but that everything that has happened to me in my life, the good and the bad, has happened
Hmm.
because of the vibes that I'm putting out. And th th any of us, all of those who are listening, Dave and me, Kristen, we're all at a place in our lives that we're supposed to be. Past is gone, and you mentioned your parents. I know that we had talked about your parents, and you
Hmm.
know, coming from a family that was intact, gives you basic skill sets that a lot of people may not have. It doesn't mean that we're any better or any worse. It
Right.
just means we have a different perspective.
Yeah.
So, and isn't that kind of what this is all about, Dave? Perspective on life and to
Yeah.
be grateful for where we're at and to give back. And so I look at your videos as a form of not only an opportunity to be creative, but to give back.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, so yeah, I think we all, I came from a certain background with both my parents, and you have someone else that had one parent, some people have no parents. And so everyone is on their own individual different journey. But I believe that everyone at the core of what we want is the same. Like we want to feel accepted, we want to feel loved, we want to feel like we belong somewhere. It's just a matter of like pulling that all together to show each person in their journey how that's done. I think that that is at the core of what you're doing here with the company, and I just think that that is perfect timing for where we're at in the world in general. So
Well,
that's
that's
why.
great. And and I gotta tell you, your enthusiasm is 99% of the battle. Because if somebody's enthusiastic about what it is, and I gotta tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I've been in the digital world only for 10 years, right? My other business was bricks and mortar, and I could speak to people and actually see them in the flesh. But there's a lot of people out there that don't you can be anything you want in the digital world, and they don't have
Mhm.
that enthusiasm like you wish that they would have.
Right.
And it took me a while to sift through that and to find people with that spark of enthusiasm. And anybody out there that's listening, remember that enthusiasm can take you a long way. And when you couple it with integrity and core value sets, are
Hmm.
you kidding me? There's nothing that we
Sky's the
can't
limit.
do. Sky's the limit.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm happy to have you on the team. And I know that the minute I saw your videos, Kristen goes, see, I told you, I told you. And the minute I saw him and I said, we've got to get Dave on board. So I got to tell you, I'm grateful to have you here, Dave.
Thank
And
you.
I'm grateful to have your fingerprint or thumbprint on the pulse of the company too. And so people will be able to go and see the courses that, yeah, we developed them, but you created the video, and that's important. So thank you for that.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So a couple of, and these aren't cheesy. I want listeners to really get an idea of who Dave Fider is. And so this isn't like we're on a dating game or anything, but I want to
Uh-oh.
ask you, what's your favorite book?
My favorite book, honestly, it's I don't know if you heard of it, and it's kind of odd, but it's the it's the afterlife of Billy Fingers. I might be saying it incorrectly. Um, the afterlife of Billy Fingers is one of them, and then actually, you know what? That's probably number two. My favorite book is The Secret. And I'm sure you've heard of that. You've seen either the movie or the book itself. But yeah, I would say that The Secret is my number one book.
That's a great book, and you have to buy it to understand what the secret is. So we're not going to
Yeah.
give it away. We're not going to ruin it. But
Yeah.
how about this? How about your favorite song?
My favorite song, I would say Bob Marley, Don't Worry. It's like that's my go-to, especially in the morning, to get in that spirit and that vibe. Like I just actually turn it on if my daughter is not sleeping at the time. I'll turn it on and blast it throughout the house. So Bob Marley, Don't Worry is my favorite song.
Yeah, I love Bob Marley, man. I spent a couple of years in the Caribbean. Of
Hmm.
course, see the color of my skin. I'm a white guy, right? But
You
I'm
are?
down there. But I was living in the Virgin Islands, and of course, at that time when I got there, Buffalo Soldier was like it came out after Bob passed away, but it was hitting the
Yeah,
airwaves, and I immediately fell in love
yeah,
with reggae music. And so it is a great vibe. And I got into places guys like me shouldn't get into because all my friends are West Indians, man. And
yeah.
and it was cool. That was a good time in my life. But that's a great song to start out the day. Anything
Oh
by Bob
yeah,
Marley.
yeah. It gives you a vibe.
Even what's that other one he sang? Rat Race. That's a good one. But so that's good. So what about your favorite movie?
Movie, favorite movie. I want to say it is The Negotiator. The Negotiator. Have you seen it?
I have not. I'm interested now. So what was it about?
Yeah, so it's well, it's pretty self-explanatory, but they were robbing, and I'm not good with recalling because it's an old movie. But I remember they were like robbing a bank, and they had to bring in Samuel L. Jackson to be the negotiator to actually go in there and talk to people out of not the heist, but what's the word I'm looking for? They were
They had
what is
like
it called?
hostages or something.
Hostages, yeah. So it was a hostage situation, and he had to go in there and actually talk to people out of carrying through the heist, and he was able to successfully do it. But it was just like how he did it, the things that he was saying to them to kind of get them to see the world differently and see what they're doing in a different light, and then talk them out of it. And of course, the movie ended in a great way.
Yeah, Samuel Jackson's a great actor, and he's done a lot of classy movies. And that sounds good. Now I'm gonna have to go watch it.
Go watch it, man, if you haven't seen it.
I will. So let me ask you. This is the last favorite thing, and then we'll talk about a
Okay.
few more things. But what is your favorite quote? Could be anybody.
Favorite quote. Um, that's a good one. Um, I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. Maybe circle back to see if what pops up. I don't know if I have one that I actually think about on a regular basis, but if I rack my brain, I'm sure something that I live by might come up.
Okay. Well, just be thinking about. Don't sweat
Yeah.
it. What are your plans for your future? What is
For
your
my
main
future,
goal in life?
good question. So my main goal is just I really can't say like how to I'm going to be reaching this, but I'm just going to go towards it, and the how always just kind of happens. But I just want to have some kind of platform at the end of the day where um, people can hear like the stuff we're talking about right now. Like these things, I want people to hear about in masses. I don't know. I used to think that I was going to be a preacher when I was younger, just because preachers go out there and talk to people. I thought I was going to be an actor. I thought different ways to reach the masses. But um, I want people to understand that, like, at the core of what we are and who we are is love. And that's not to just sound cheesy or to sound kumbaya, but I've always known that that has fixed everything. Anytime there's any kind of situation with me, my parents, me, friends, or whatever like that, you get to the bottom of it. When love is there, it fixes everything. So I just want some kind of platform where that can be at the forefront of what is talked about. I don't know what that's going to look like, but that's always been my goal.
I love that. No pun intended. But I totally agree with you on that. That love, my dad used to say, you can catch more flies with honey,
Yeah.
which is love, than you can with vinegar. And
Mm-hmm.
in a world of today that we're witnessing on a daily basis, like 24/7, 365, we need love, man.
Yeah, we have to. We have to have that in order for us to come together like we're supposed to. And what's taking us and separating us is the very opposite, as fear. So, and the thing is, we live with that as the norm. So it's like we're seeing it so fear. We're seeing fear so often and all around us, and we're living in that, not realizing really what it's doing to us. So for some reason, for a long time, I've always seen that. I've always seen what fear was doing. I see it in politics. I see it in communities. I see it all over the place. And I know what it's doing, and I know what the opposite can do. And I just want that to, want that to be known by the masses.
I do love that, and I think there's a song called Huey Lewis and the News, "The Power of Love," and
Mhm.
but we hear about it, and you're so totally right that there's a lot of animosity, a lot of fear, a lot of
Yeah,
hatred, a lot of things going on, and one reason why we're doing what we're doing is to empower men and women. Don't let the name scare you, neo-masculinity. We want to empower men and women to have the tools that they need that they can actually analyze information for its reliability, if that makes
right.
sense. And
Yep.
that's what we're working on. We're bombarded with the stuff all the time. And I'm right with you there, Dave, that we see people, if they would just take a moment to take a deep breath, to put it all in perspective and practice a little bit of love, imagine
Yeah,
how we could turn things around and do it in
absolutely.
a loving way.
Yep.
And what's interesting, I'll share this with you.
You gonna tell me you love me?
Well, I do love you, man, but
All right.
I couldn't say that and mean it unless I loved myself first.
Absolutely.
And when I was going through, I'll share this. We're two grown men just talking, but when I had a traumatic brain injury and a bunch of stuff surfaced, right? So I had to go to this behavioral therapy. And I was going through a serious bout of insomnia. I mean, serious bout, years of insomnia because of the injury. And I'd get up at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'd pace and I'd do this and I'd look out the window. And she said, John, listen, next time you get up, and this is going to flow into what we're talking about.
Yeah.
She says, go into the bathroom, flip the light on, look at that guy in the mirror, and tell that guy that you love him, right?
Hmm.
And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, man, this woman, she is nuts.
Yeah.
So that night, sure enough, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, I can't sleep. I get up, I'm looking around, there's nobody with me. I'm separated from my wife because we were going through a rough time. And I go in, I flick the light on, I go up to the mirror and I go, I love you, man. And then I just like freaked. I was like, hold it, hold it, hold it. No. And I turn off the light. I'm looking around. I go back to bed. Well, anyhow, I started to do it because I was waking up every morning. Hey, I love you, man. Hey, you're the coolest
Hmm.
dude. You are one bad mojo, right? And
Yeah.
so I started to love myself, man. And it's not self-centered. It's not narcissistic. It's
No.
something that every single men and women have to do. Because if you don't love who you are, and if it's something you need to change, do it. It's easier said than done. But if you don't love yourself, I could never say to Dave, hey, man, I love you, brother,
Right.
and mean it.
Right.
So that's what the love is for me. It starts with self-love, and then it just
And
explodes from
John,
there.
yeah, if you don't mind, so like, because you saying that reminded me of something I was practicing maybe about a year ago. I saw a video, well, for two reasons. I saw a video of a guy who was saying, he pretty much said, listen, if you want to change your life, wake up every day before you do anything else and go stand in front of the mirror. It'll be tedious, but once you get into the routine, it'll be a routine. And look in the mirror and look yourself dead in your eye and say, I love you 25 times. And in between each time, take a deep breath and say, I love you. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give that a try because I feel like there's something. He said, I swear to you, if you do that and your life doesn't change, call this number and we'll, I can't remember what he said, we'll compensate you or whatever it was. And I started doing that and I started feeling this feeling. At first, it was kind of strange going, I love you. I love you. It was kind of strange doing that, but then once you did it, you start feeling this thing and the confidence that I normally didn't start my day with. That was obvious that it was something had changed. And I had done a few sessions of with my a therapist of mine several years ago, where I remember she told me that she was like, Dave, you need to love yourself more. And I was like, I love myself. What do you mean? I'm Dave Fider. I love myself. But that was just me saying it. That was me saying that I love myself. It wasn't me actually loving myself. So I remember the first time she had me do this exercise where she had me hug myself and say it in the camera. We were on a Zoom, and she was like, "Say it," and I said, "I love myself. I love myself," and it felt very awkward. It felt like like stop. I shouldn't be talking to myself this way. And so I just was overwhelmed with emotions after like the third time of saying it, where I couldn't explain, like, why was I crying like this? And all I could think of is she's looking at me crying and I'm embarrassed. And she knew it. And she walked away and she came back and gave me a moment. And she was explaining to me, and she was just like, that was because you haven't given yourself that love probably ever. And now you are recognizing you, giving you love, and you know you've been missing it. So that is where those emotions come from. And so it's almost similar to what you were just saying there. Like we have to, not in a narcissistic way, like you said, narcissistic way, like you said, but in a way where we get so comfortable with ourselves that we do love ourselves, and that will then give us the capacity to love others that we come into contact with in a genuine way, not just in a way where we say it in passing.
Thank you for sharing that. You know, that you're totally right. Your therapist was just like my therapist. They were both bad mammer jammer women, I guess, and but they
Yeah,
wanted to help us.
yeah,
And you're totally right. You know, change your mindset, change your life, and
yeah,
love overcomes everything, and love can fix everything. So,
yeah.
thank you for sharing that. So, how can people, or better yet, one question here and a couple questions, and
Okay.
how what is a perfect world in Dave Fider's world? What does
Perfect
it look
world.
like? What does a perfect world look like?
Hmm. Had you asked me that several years ago, I would have said what we were taught in church. We were walking on golden streets and things like that, milk and honey. A perfect world, I would say probably just like what we had just talked about. Like people, I believe we're all one, and I believe that different things have separated us, languages, colors, all different types of things that separate us. I think getting back to that frequency where we all are feeling like one again, because if we're there, it goes back to what we just said about love. If I feel like I am John and John, I know John is me or whatever like that, I would wish you the best. I would do everything to make sure you're good. I would never have any kind of ill intent. And I think that that would, completely bring everyone together. So I think in a perfect world, I just see everyone having good intentions for each other. And when you have good intentions for each other, you see things go away like the greed of money. You see selfishness melt away. Um, I don't think you'd have many narcissistic people at that time. So I think everyone being on the same frequency would be my perfect world.
I love that, man. I keep saying I love that. You know, think about that. You mentioned the word frequency. And if these scientists, I don't know how they do it, but there is a frequency. We all emit a certain frequency.
Yeah,
And love is past the courage emotion, but love is up there near higher consciousness frequency.
right.
And hate
Hmm.
is like down here at this vibrational state,
Low
right?
frequency. Yep.
And so that in that vision of a higher frequency world would in fact be a perfect world because we would be helping. Love helps, love heals, love
Yeah.
helps us to do amazing things that hate would never allow us to do.
No.
And I got to tell you, brother, you are a light in a world of seemingly darkness.
Yeah.
And I'm very humbled and proud and honored to have you on our team here at Neomasculinity. I
Thank
know,
you.
Dave, we're going to do some awesome things, man. And
Absolutely.
we're going to help, we're going to work together and along with our other team members to create a world of higher frequency, that of love. Um, thank you. So, how can people get a hold of you if there's something that they need to ask you, or if they want to check out your work? You know, where can they go, or how can they reach you?
Um, you can reach me, social media. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Each one of them, I'm under Dave Fider, so DAVEFIDER. So yeah, social media. I would think that's the best place where you can reach me at.
Nice. Anything else you think we missed today?
Well, if we have like 7 more hours, I think we probably
We
cover
could come up with.
everything. Yeah, we
I'm
can we
with
can
you on
find
that.
we can find all of what we missed in there. But no, I think we pretty much covered everything. My journey. I'm very happy and grateful that we crossed paths. But we know and agree that the universe works like that. So we were destined to cross paths. And happy to be here, support your mission, as you know, 100%. So whatever I can pull out of this creative brain of mine to help push that forward, I'm here for it.
Be careful what you wish for, man. I'm gonna be getting it.
Hey, I'm here.
But thank you for that, Dave. I
Yeah,
appreciate that. I appreciate your time, obviously, today, and what we're gonna do in the future. And to the audience and those who stuck it out, we know you probably did. We thank you for that, because anytime we can see other people that are living their lives like they're living theirs and they can learn something
right.
from us, it's a good thing. And that's what a contributory galaxy person does, is they give back, and that's what you do. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
We'll be talking. I'll see you next time
See you, man.
this week.